Not only are the 5 that were arrested heroes, but everybody else are too, for supporting them throughout the day. Every one of you is a hero. Thank you. Cheers. Just call up Simon Fawthrop now. Hey guys, Simon Fawthrop, Bromley Council, one of our supporters. Let's give Simon Fawthrop a big shout, please. Thank you very much, Kingsley. Can I just echo what Martin said? Not only are the 5 that were arrested heroes, but everybody else are too, for supporting them throughout the day. I'm going to coin a phrase, bloody fantastic you are. And that's the truth of the matter. What you did for those guys is amazing and was amazing. Now I've got this to say.
This is the thing, right? What's actually happening here, right? We've just had Mayor Tooting, right, in London, and he is a journalist. He's got a huge channel, right? Massive official reporter channel, and the police don't let him in when there's an event on in London, right? The police won't let him in, and even though black belt barrister, a official recognised barrister, has said that there is no law. If you're doing journalism, you're allowed in, right? The police are not letting anyone in unless they are a member of a union, right, for journalism. Yet Black Belt Barrister says that as long as you are doing it for journalist purposes, right, then you are doing it. Now, there's no requirement to be a member of a union, and surely your channel is evidence of the journalism itself existing, right? If you've got a YouTube channel. Also, if you were underemployment or getting paid as a journalist, if you prove your wages or show a wage slip, that's actually proof of journalism if you're being paid for journalism by a newspaper or even magazine, or probably even if you're getting money from YouTube and you've got a channel, if you get revenue, you print it out, then surely that's employed as a journalist. So Black Belt Barrister, according to Black Belt Barrister, you know, you don't have to be a member of a union, I don't think. So there you've got the police who are, there's no law there. So why, if you don't need to be a member of a union, and then even Tice said that, I think Tice was there, right? So you've got police en masse enforcing something which isn't the law, right? Then all these Stop ULEZ people get jumped on by the police, and they use this section 42, right? Which, if you've got the right to petition and you're using that for petitioning activities, they can't use that on you, and none of the material you've got could harass anyone or upset anyone because it's exempt material anyway, right? And the police can't prosecute or arrest you, right? So in the same manner that they're completely making their own laws up when it comes to journalists who can go in and go out, they're making their own law up in whether they grant your rights or not, and how they apply that section 42, which is unlawfully applied to many people. But my issue is this, right? Here is Councillor Simon Fawthrop, right, of Bromley Council, right? Total Egypt. An absolute wally. There's Kingsley Hamilton and the rest of the ULEZ people, all of them, right, have got a huge following. You know, probably over 100,000 people. There's 83,000 in one group, right? That's a massive political influence and there's 400,000 people signed up to 2 of the petitions. That is 1/4 of the turnout for the London Mayor election is just over 2 million. They've got around 1/4 of that. There's more people signed the ULEZ petitions than who voted for Green. So it's a massive political swing, right? Now, this is the thing, right? If you're listening to me clearly, right? It's a huge portion of London. More than the third last election, it's 1/4. It's over the amount of the Green Party votes, which was third place. Now, the Conservatives claim they're opposed to ULEZ, so they're blaming it all on Labour. Now, the thing is, that is a petition campaign on one point of law which they took to the London Council, London Mayor, and Parliament. And they wouldn't, Parliament wouldn't do an action. Instead, the only solution they were giving were to vote for Sue Hall. So that's blackmail, because they were refusing to act on 400,000 petition signatures. So I complained, and then they ended up laying a bill to Parliament, right, to stop ULEZ, and Labour voted against it. But at least they acted then on the petitions officially in Parliament. They didn't have a debate on it. They laid a bill, but because there's so many signatures, right? So that is a Parliament action, right? Now, the thing is that the Tories they've had £5 million donated to them for their campaigns, Tory headquarters, for all their Conservative campaigns, right? That's for their battle bus and for their Tory war chest, right? They pay for their campaigns. Yet now there's this big political group, this big political action group that's got the sway of about a quarter, equal to around a quarter of the people who turn out to vote in the mayor elections, not of the whole complete electorate, but from all those who do bother to go vote. We know it's around 2 million. They've got a quarter of that, right, behind them, right? And all signed, right? The Tories, right, their £5 million war chest to keep mind their own business, do their own campaigns, do their own elections, have their own agents. It's not. They're not satisfied with that. £5 million donations. They're not satisfied with it. You know why? Because this group, this action group, which I support this action group, but then they come in and they get Susan Hall hanging around with them. Councillor Simon Fawthrop, Bromley Council employee, elected using the title of councillor full-time, night and day, in the middle of the night. If you've got a problem, you can't just ditch it. He wants to be elected. He wants to be on the council. But he now seems to want to get involved in elections when he's not the candidate and he's not the agent, and he can't be a volunteer because he's a member of the council, right? Idiots like this is illegally influencing electors right now as we speak. This idiot is a complete idiot. He's unlawfully and illegally affecting the outcome of elections, right? And, you know, if you're going to call it out, then you have to call it out, right? Now, the problem is that the Electoral Commission are doing nothing. The Conservative Party headquarters are doing nothing. The Met Police are doing nothing. These are crimes and offences. They won't arrest Sue Hall or prosecute her. They won't arrest Simon Fawthrop or prosecute him or intervene, right? Yet, Simon Fawthrop is on the microphone now talking, right? And he's complaining that the Met Police are arresting people illegally, unlawfully. So Fawthrop is complaining that the police aren't upholding the law. And he's complaining that they don't respect people's rights. Yet he himself is breaking the law. And no one's doing anything about it. In fact, he is doing better than the ULEZ campaigners, because the ULEZ campaigners got arrested when they shouldn't have got arrested because it was illegal to arrest them. Yet Fawthrop, they might as well have had Simon Fawthrop clones. I mean, if they'd have all had Simon Fawthrop masks on, you know, like on Point Break, when they've all got, the ex-presidents, they'd have all been all right. They wouldn't have been arrested. You know, why didn't they all wear Sue Hall masks? You know, if they'd have all dressed up as Sue Hall and weared Sue Hall masks, then they wouldn't have touched them. You know, rather than wearing dinosaur costumes, you might as well dress up as Sadiq Khan. If they'd have all dressed up as Sadiq Khan, put boot polish on and dyed their hair grey, the police might have left them alone. You know, what's happening now is a complete nightmare because people support Stop ULEZ. People support Kingsley Hamilton. People support Claire Dyer. People support Matt Hardy. People support Nick Arlett. People support all of them and give money to them and want to help them stop ULEZ. But this dark entity comes along, the Tory party, and they get involved with a political action because they didn't want to get it put through Parliament because Labour voted against it. You know, really, there should be some sort of referendum on it, but not actually the election on that one point of law. So it's a bit of a... The reason it's a mess is because out of all the Stop ULEZ people who have given money and helped and all the groups, some of them don't support the Tory party. They want to stop ULEZ, but they don't support Tories. Therefore, it's a mess because some of them support either Howard Cox or independent candidates, and a lot of them have fallen out with each other over it. To be honest, I don't think Matt Hardy supports the Conservative Party, really, but he's having to go along with it. Elections are run separately from a political action on a political point. Fawthrop he shouldn't be getting involved. He wanted to be a councillor. That's what job he wanted to do. He needs to stay on the council and do his council work with his electorate, right? But keep away from elections. That's what he needs to do. He's employed by a government authority, a government body. And Susan Hall is a candidate. She can engage in elections, right? Yet, they are... The thing is this, they've got £5 million, right? 5 million. So why are they latching on to Stop ULEZ? And then everyone's like, Sue Hall, Sue Hall, Sue Hall. When you claim that money back, that is not a Stop ULEZ sign that you claim non-profit. That is a Susan Hall banner. It's a Susan Hall banner for an election of Susan Hall. It's not Stop ULEZ, right? Therefore, when you claim tax back, you don't claim it back through non-profit VAT 126. You've got to claim it back from Parliament. So is the agent, is Sue Hall's agent going to give everyone their money back from those flyers out of the Tory war chest, you know? Or is it, you know, are they claiming it back from Parliament, you know? And that's another thing. If they claim all the money back from Parliament for election expenses, right, or for their campaign, right, well, that's actually... I think sending the letters through the post, all of the operations for the election, you claim it back through the post, through Parliament, right? But I think the Sue Hall material, I think that's got to come under the agent. I don't know whether they can claim back, if they win, I'm not sure if they can claim back all of their expenses from Parliament or whether it just comes out of the Tory war chest and they just claim VAT back for it. I'm not sure. But I know one thing for sure. If you are the council or the government, you cannot affect electors. That means that people employed by the council, the executives, the councillors, MPs, not supposed to affect the outcome of elections. But yet here they are doing it. But then they're complaining when the police aren't upholding rights. So it's kind of ridiculous because Fawthrop is himself breaking the law, but he's complaining that the police broke the law and didn't uphold the rights when they have got rights and can use them. Although the Khan material is borderline, because all this, like, carnage and, Khan, when Khan's the mayor of London and it's his policy and you're opposing Khan's policy, it's not an election. Khan's done something as mayor and you oppose his action and him. So you can oppose the mayor. You're opposing the mayor, Khan, through one of his political points. So you get to oppose Khan because the mayor, ULEZ was his idea, right? And it's a political point against London Borough Council and the mayor. So you can oppose the mayor, but that's not the election. So you can oppose the mayor. Now, it's true that when you start, opposing Khan and ULEZ, you once you start going into the election gradually, you can get away with saying, Khan, stop Khan's ULEZ or carnage or whatever. But once you start going into all about the election and voting, you've strayed from the petition, and it's starting to fall under election material, and it's all then under the election rules and regulations. And the thing is, when Sue Hall comes into the picture, then it's gone. It's gone from asking the council to do something, and it's gone into getting people to do the outcome of elections. Now, independent citizens really, supposedly, can support or oppose campaigns, but Sue Hall, when people are doing material and giving it to Sue Hall or helping her, there's direct and non-direct campaign assistance. And this is the thing. When you have a meeting, when Sue Hall has a meeting concerning the election and voting, the electricity for the meeting has to be paid for by her agent when it's a meeting with Sue Hall, right? Or the council. Even a meeting with Simon Fawthrop over council matters, or whether it was the election, well, he's not allowed to help with the election. When you claim the VAT and tax back for that meeting room, right, because it's been used for a non-profit, then it's meant, that's why they've got designated schools and certain council rooms and so forth like that. When you're just using a pub or this or that, who's paying for the electricity and, and all these kind of things? The pub guy lets you have it for free, right? But is he giving it for free? Is it free? Because, if you buy 6 pints for him, were they free? Oh, the electricity is free, but not the pints. Well, who bought the pints? Did Sue Hall and Simon Fawthrop buy the pints? All those, you're entering the realm of favours for each other in with elections, and it is illegal, because all those favours backwards and forwards, you've got favours being done that influence the election on a big scale. 1/4 of all London's election voting. It's a big number of people. And the Tories, they've got their own money. They've got 5 million being donated. But yet everyone else who kindly donated, which we haven't got a problem with, some of those people supported Howard Cox. You can't say, oh, it's strategic now because you agreed to do ULEZ. People have... You can't say, on behalf of everyone, we're declaring we're supporting a political party for any strategic purposes, because at the start of it, it's meant to be to stop ULEZ, but not in an election. You can't say, right, because we want to stop ULEZ now, everyone has to strategically do this or that, because you're then... The freedom of voting in an election is separate from a petition to Parliament. It's a fucking mess now. Fawthrop has caused a mess because he's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. He's like Augustus Gloop. He's jumped in the vat when it says no councillors may jump in the Chocolate Factory goop, right? But he jumps in there. And he wants to get dirty in with it, with the action. Oh, Simon Fawthrop wants to get him. Oh, I like a bit of this. Oh, it's exciting, Simon. But he should leave the council. He needs to lose his seat and not be allowed to stand again or vote. These are laws. He wanted to be a councillor on the council. Now, the thing with Kingsley's meant to be standing independent. Kingsley is running for council, but a different council. And he's standing independently, right? So when he's the candidate, no one can help him, really. Well, actually, Simon Fawthrop's looks like Simon Fawthrop's helping him. That's the council. Looks like Simon Fawthrop's helping him, even though he's a Conservative, but Kingsley's gone independent. It's difficult for you to get any assistance if you're an independent, like Jeremy Corbyn, from a political party. These people are blatantly, it's like kicking someone in the head and then complaining that people are getting kicked in the head. He's breaking the law, they're complaining that the police broke the law and arrested all of the people. And we are all in a very ridiculous position now because everyone's falling out with each other. All of the ULEZ people in the other groups who don't support the Tories, they're arguing. Susan Hall and Fawthrop are causing arguments among the parties because they can't mind their own business with their own campaigns. It's not fair on everyone. It really would have been better if there wasn't an election. And this is what happens with Rees-Mogg. It's why Mogg is not meant to be on GB News presenting. He's an elected MP. Oh, there's not an election on at the moment. But when you get an election, it's difficult for GB News to not mention or talk about elections when things are coming up in connection with the elections. It's not fair on everyone. Fawthrop needs to, if he wants to be a campaigner, he needs to, get a job in a widget factory and then be a campaigner, not be an elected councillor, government, HM government, His Majesty's Council, Bromley, affecting elections. And by the way, this is a complaint. Most of my videos and material are actually complaints about rights, complaints about things not being done properly for whatever reason. ULEZ not being done properly, But then again, and all of this equipment, all of the mobile phones and the TikTok broadcasting, which cannot broadcast unless you've got so many subscribers, those are assets that Susan Hall has not paid for, but they're getting donated and given for use to promote Susan Hall or Howard Cox. Yet, that's the thing with those journalisms, with the union journalist passes. They're not letting anyone into those areas, the police, unless they've got a union card or whatever. And yeah, everyone's a journalist now. But that means everyone's not supposed to be, influencing the election. I think Mogg knows that it's a mess. He knows that it's a mess, and that's why he's on there encouraging it. It's why they've got Reclaim. They're wanting to reclaim the media for everyone. I don't really know what to do anymore because I do not support the Conservative Party, but I support Stop ULEZ. So really. But I can't vote. I can't vote in the mayor election anyway. Who am I? I can't even vote in the mayor election because I'm not in London. But I don't support the Conservative Party because the Tories and Labour have set this up. I think the Tories and Labour have set this up, like a football manager and an agent, so they can have a little match between, Khan and the Tories and Stop ULEZ, and they've got everyone running around like a football pitch, and then they've got the police managing it, who they're owning and ordering around to break the law. It's like, I think that it's Sunak and Starmer's little kind of like Truman Show game, and they've got they've got everything planned, so they can kick everyone around like a football, knock him around everywhere, so they can they got the cameras in, and then even if Khan gets, knocked out of the election, then the Sewell's going to hand all the cameras over to the police to use for surveillance, and then they've got an excuse for surveillance because of all the disruption going on. It's like a perfect setup. It's not right on everyone. This is campaign disruption. There's an offence for widespread campaign disruption. When there are 2 million, right, people turn out in the election, or 2,100,000 or something, right? And 1/4 of those equal has signed the petitions, over 400,000, right? That is a substantial amount to justify calling a election disruption, right? When it's all social media, starting to affect the election, journalists getting involved when journalism aren't supposed to influence elections. Everyone's a journalist now. And then there's Fawthrop right in the middle of it, like, where's Wally? Like some kind of, just proper Egypt, and I mean that. It's the correct, appropriate word to describe his behaviour from the dictionary when you look through it, and Susan Hall. And then Susan Hall's popping up, like making you feel bad when she's a Conservative Party member, and they've got their own money, 5 million. Why aren't they paying for Kingsley Hamilton's bus? Why aren't they paying for all the Stop ULEZ banners? Or are the government going to pay for that? This is the thing. It's not fair because, not only is everyone getting fines, ridiculous fines, but then, everyone's having to spend their money on all the banners and promo and everything, and there's the legal costs. Is Sunak paying for everyone's legal fees? Given that it's illegal. It's a mess. It's a total mess. And now they're realising it's a mess when they're getting the police used on them, when there's no such Section 42 cannot be used against a petition campaign. We're all trying to prove the rights and protect their rights and help them out, but then the Tories are latching onto it, and some people don't support them, so we're falling out over it. There's Chris Khan and whoever else, Warren and other people are falling out with each other over the voting. So Sue Hall has rammed into Stop ULEZ, right? Because the Tories want to win the election on it, yet Labour and the Tories were in cahoots to put the cameras in the first place with the police, because if they got voted out against them because of the fines, then they get to keep the cameras for surveillance, and it's a good excuse because of all the disruption. So that's entrapment. It's a strategic police move to get cameras and thwart the public voter, right? Because the police actually are identified as a political body, because they go into council meetings and they ask for things that they want. Like the police is like, I ask for the police for surveillance cameras, right? And the Khan's like, yeah, let's have some cameras, right? I think that the police effectively are acting as a political body, right? Who want things for their job, their agenda, right? remember that before the 1850s, there was no police force. People were bringing their own prosecutions or getting a solicitor or barrister. There were a few trained bands and so forth, but there wasn't a police force. We brought civil requests and we brought criminal requests, right? We brought prosecutions like common informers and stuff like that as well, right? So there was no political body called the police force. So who would want all these? If you go back to 1800, who would be asking to get the cameras put out everywhere? There would be no police force, right? Just one sheriff, right? So the police force now, as an organisation that has its own agenda, to rocking up in council meetings saying, oh, I want this, I want that. And then there's that guy, Matthew Rudolph, who's going for Police and Crime Commissioner in Gloucester, and he's getting pushed out of meetings by the police, saying that he's disrupting it. And the police are having meetings with the council over security and cameras and getting their bollards and their barriers everywhere they want. And then they're even pushing out police and crime commissioners out of local council meetings so they can't get in or even get voted in. The police, right, have to be recognised now as a political party and body. And when they turn up in public and block areas off and try and keep people out with journalism or political rights, that's criminal, because they don't have the right to do it. They don't have the right. The police are a political party now, a body politic, and they're using equipment, handcuffs, truncheons, radios, vans, what we've paid for, to block us out of certain political arenas, filming, journalism activities and so forth, and then they're using our money for all their camera system, and then they're arresting us, saying we're the criminals. It's effectively like the Conservative Party doing it. It's like the Conservative Party turning up, like, you know, under the Conservative banner with a load of equipment and then just, you know, arresting everyone. Or even, you know, the Green Party, you know. This is the problem. The police are we've paid for it all. We've paid for it. And what they've done is they've had a secret meeting with Starmer and Sunak and the security services and the police, and they've come to an agreement. Oh yeah, we'll get ourselves these cameras, and then they've put them out and they said, oh well, what happens if they don't like them? And, well, you know, as long as Rishi Sunak's going to agree so we can all have them for surveillance, if, you know, Sadiq can't have them for, you know, fining everyone all the money from driving, then we're all right, you know, we'll have them either way. That is that's criminal, because what it is we're meant to vote for what we want, right? And what the police have done is the police are coming in as like an alien party or an unidentified party. And what's happened is that both Tory and the Conservatives have agreed with the police in an agreement that they're going to have the cameras no matter what, no matter who the fuck we vote for. They're going to have those cameras. So the police, really, it's almost like laying a bill to Parliament saying, oh, we'll have those cameras no matter what party wins, right? They've made a deal with a body politic. So no matter who we vote for in the election, the police will win, because it's like a party you can't vote for. You can't vote against that police party because they're not on the ballot. It's a party that wins every time, yet they're not on the ballot. You can't vote them out. And this is what's happening with the Police and Crime Commissioner in Gloucester. The police are throwing him out of meetings in the council and trying to stop him from getting on the ballot, right? Now, that's criminal. When a police officer throws you out of a meeting to do with, you know, elections and the council, right? It's almost as if, like, the police, not only do they want facial recognition in cameras, they want to control who can even go in and out of meetings, depending on who you are and what your opinion is. and then they start throwing conduct and behaviour when their conduct and behaviour is disgusting. Even Kingsley Hamilton said that it's disgusting, their behaviour. Even he said the police have crossed the line or whatever. You know, we're all having to have a say in it now. It's a mess. It's a total mess. But, you know, standing up for people's rights and believing that people shouldn't get arrested and not wanting people to get arrested, it's upsetting because Fawthrop is making a mess of it. It's like, hey, here I am, Bromley Council. We better vote for Sue Hall. Ooh, yes, I'm on your side. Let's get rid of these cameras. Well, no, Fawthrop. You know, your party and the police are going to have those cameras, extra bobbies on the streets, you know, now that there's a lot more rowdy protesters that you're engaging with helping. It's a complete and total mess that, you know, Fawthrop needs to stand down because he's making a mess of the rules. I won't mind, but Kingsley has been saying that, oh no, it's all within the law, you know, there's peaceful protesting, you know, Kingsley's like, oh yeah, you know, let's obey the law, let's comply with the law, you know, no one's breaking the law here. Yeah, he stood next to Fawthrop, who is fropping it over the line. He might as well, Fawthrop's a hypocrite. He's sat there, getting right in the thick of the election arguments, getting people to support Sue Hall, right? Yeah, he's complaining that the police aren't abiding by the law. Fawthrop might as well be there arresting them all because he's...
About the police. Normally...
Fawthrop is writing the election off. The election is being written off by Fawthrop and Sue Hall. It's gone. The whole election has gone. You know, it's completely and totally gone. You've got a quarter of the electorate, which is a large amount, are being contaminated by Bromley Council. Bromley Council is appearing multiple events and he's speaking to 83,000, there's 400,000 people signed the petitions, right? Bromley Council is addressing on multiple occasions, at multiple events, a body of people varying between 83,000 and 400,000 and getting them to vote for Conservatives, right? That's what Fawthrop's doing, and Sue Hall, when they've got their own money, their own Tory war chest, but instead they're getting gifts and favours from, you know, X £100,000 worth of people's private mobile phones and Facebook and TikTok pages that cannot broadcast unless they get subscribers, which is a privilege. It's a privilege that you can't buy. You can't purchase with a Tory war chest the privilege of activating a TikTok live stream unless you have got people to subscribe to your channel, right? That is that's a explicit privilege of a private individual, right? Yet Sue Hall she's getting gifts in kind to help her campaign win, right? Which is a privileged gift for only people with certain subscribers, which even the BBC and Channel 4 aren't allowed to affect the outcome of elections or tell people who to vote for. It's a mess. The whole thing. The Electoral Commission need to call this election off because it is gone. Fawthrop is acting on behalf of a council. He cannot ditch the title. He wanted that position, right? He's a Tory. It's a total mess. If the Electoral Commission don't call this whole election off, right, then there are issues. And there's even, you know, Howard Cox possibly even has been getting too much into it. We don't know because, you know, there are so many videos going around. You know, how can you record every single one of them for the evidence? You've got to go collect every one. It's just ridiculous.
on really well with the